Couple alternate layouts for people who don't have a whole lot of road lists, but they do have more road buildings. You can also add a small row off one side of your town hall. I would keep this as small as possible, and I'll explain that in another screenshot. But I would keep this group as small as possible and don't connect anything along this road, ideally more than 3 squares, 4 at the absolute most. So that would be stuff like vineyards, 3x3 stuff. Try to keep this group as small as possible though. The problem with running this row off of the side of the town hall in this system is that you lose the flexibility of adjusting all your road buildings down here, because like vineyard may become obsolete at some point. If you have like the old school plazas, you're probably going to want to store those at one point, and then you'll end up having to readjust this road group up here. A better location though is actually at the bottom of this longer group. So if you have a ton of Ketabo or something, just extend this bottom group. Try to keep your smallest stuff on the inside of it, and then put your larger buildings below it at the end. And the goal eventually, depending on the building, like if it's Ketabo, I would store that personally. So the goal here is, as you get better, okay, so I want airships, right? And then better road buildings would replace that Ketabo over time, if that makes sense. I think that covers the alternate, this pattern. Anything that's bigger than, I wouldn't connect anything on more than 4 faces if possible. Like this is connected on 3, that's connected on 3, that's kind of inevitable. But anything bigger than that, this is potentially connected on 4 or 6, so that gets a nub. That's potentially connected on 5 or 6, so that gets a nub. 4 or 7 gets a nub. 6 or 6 gets a nub. Anything bigger than 4, I would try to keep in a nub pattern as much as possible. The reason I try to avoid putting road buildings at this top side, first of all, the shape is really irregular, so it's really hard to get stuff packed in efficiently. The second problem though is that if you fill all these expansions up, this top corner becomes like a permanent reference point where all the changes in my city are going to be happening down here with upcoming expansions, right? But I've expanded this top corner, this top edge is to the full extent of the map. So I don't really want to be shuffling these buildings more than I need to, especially if they have a road connection. It's roadless, and a lot of this is like 1x2, 2x2, so that's pretty easy to shuffle around if I need. But I don't want to be making those changes with a road connection. So that's a lot easier to do off this bottom row, and either extend that row with more buildings underneath it, or contract this row in favor of more roadless down here. All of your main road connections should definitely go at the widest point of your city, just so that you can maximize this row length as well as minimize your column length on either side of that, if that makes sense.